An alarmingly small percentage of political attacks from either party relate specifically to the statistical outcomes of a particular policy. The vast majority of political criticism is related to character. This is exceptionally frustrating for the majority of American citizens because the personal character and supposedly potential future outcome of the candidates that are supposedly going to lead them have very little effect on their daily life compared to the outcomes of the policies that they put in place. But the personal attacks and the character attacks hit home. They cause an emotional response because you see these people's faces. You see them up close. You feel like you know them. You know their family. You almost treat them as if they're a relationship you have in real life. You know so much. You know almost too much. It's almost like if you knew every single thing about the CEO or the chairman and founder of a large corporation that you worked at. What you would care about is how it related to you, how the business was run, how it affected your life. Politics is very unique in that manner. It's one of the only things where you know absolutely everything there is to know, all the dirty laundry of the person that sits at the top of the pyramid. But this is used intentionally as a manipulation tactic to convince you that their character and conduct matters more than the potential outcome of the policies that they decide to put on you and the rest of the citizens of this country. Both the left and the right engage in this almost equally, and the majority of people that would otherwise pay attention tune out because it feels like you're just looking at people bickering in a big high school. Their individual qualms back and forth and their showboating is completely irrelevant to the average American citizen, and in fact it causes them to tune out entirely. If I was ever the president of the United States, it would never be about me and my personal stories. It would be about you, the citizen, and about how the policy prescriptions that I espoused would be beneficial to your life. Even the representatives supposedly on our side are entangled in the same exact petty garbage that most of us could care less about. Because unfortunately, the real currency of our world right now is attention. In a lot of ways, it's almost the only thing that matters. And as each of us hides on our respective sides of the aisle and engages in or fuels the petty attacks, we get further and further away from the things that actually matter, the policy prescriptions and how they affect you, the citizen. No matter how many times I look at it, it always comes back to the same thing. The only thing that can save the country, the only thing that can get us out of the trap that you may find yourself in, other people might feel like we're not in a trap. The only thing to get it the way that you think it should be is by changing the attention graph of the individual. I think it's a race car driver saying, which is, you go where you're looking. Which essentially means that no matter how much you steer into the turn of the track, if you're staring at the wall, you're going into the wall. Because the whole bureaucracy is a charade. Everybody's patting each other on the back. At the end of the day, they're all in that room and we're not. Because when I look at the group of people that supposedly represent us, it doesn't look like a cross-section of America to me. It's not what I see out here in the real world. These people are manipulative, petty liars, money-hungry, talentless, and without loyalty. People forget that the government was established for us by the consent of the governed. But much like you have a disagreement with a loved one or a person you're in a relationship, it's typically not that much of a disagreement. It's more often than not a communication issue. So what that tells me as a servant to you, the viewer, is that this communication issue is the breakdown between people understanding what's going on. Which means that the truth distributor, the idea distributor, the conversationalist is really what is needed to save the republic. Because really it's not the republic that needs saving, it's the individual. Each individual needs to carry their own weight of redistributing the truth, the facts, and probably most importantly of all, the perspective, showing people how to think, not what to think. And I think that there's always this illusion, this kick the can down the road mentality where it's like, just wait for the midterms, just wait for the next selection, just wait to get your governor or your whatever out. But the reality is this is an everyday struggle. This is an everyday process. This individual weight needs to be carried by every individual all the time. We can no longer stand idly by when a person on the right or a person on the left, a person that's supposed to represent our group, comes up and says something that isn't right, that isn't helping us, that isn't beneficial, that we don't think is going to work. It's not about just joining the team anymore. I used to think that that's how it needed to go. Oh, I'm gonna be a team player. I want my team to win, so I'm not going to say anything. I'm only going to criticize the other side. That's a losing battle. Because whether you can see it or not, it doesn't really matter who's in power. A lot of people are taking L's. And if it's not you, that's awesome. And I really hope that it isn't. But there's a lot of people that are. And you know what they don't have time to do? Pay attention to this stuff. Because they're busy trying to figure out how to pay for eggs, how to pay for gas, how to get to work. And here's a newsflash. These people are not going to save them. They only pretend to care about them so that they get the soundbite, so that they get the vote, so that they can come back in 2 to 4 years. The individual is the solution to all of this. And like Andy Frisella says, personal excellence is the ultimate rebellion. It's really the best direct line to making massive change, is being the best yourself. And one of the things that goes hand in hand with being the best version of yourself is settling for no bullshit, no matter who tells it to you, whether you think that you're there on your team or not. If we don't hold these people to account, how we hold ourselves to account, then we deserve what we get.